and gentlemen, you are listening to Deathmatch Russell Podcast. Let's get it on!
Come into the ring, step into the fire, see what you want, baby. If your heart has desire, get up, get knocked down, get up, get knocked down, get up, get knocked down, down. Mattress Podcast, Deathmatch Russell 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 Podcast.
And good evening, everyone. You're listening to another episode of the Deathmatch Russell Podcast, and my guest at this time, the one and only. He's a host, he's a podcaster, he's a producer, he's this and that. Ladies and gentlemen, he works with Fight TV, Mr. Josh Shernoff, right? Shernoff.
Shernoff. There you go.
Now
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. Hey, thank you so much for having me. I love that intro. You have like the Grateful Dead record that? That sounds awesome.
No, you know what it was? Some dude was on TikTok.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, I'll make a song about you or something, you know?
Dude, it was great. It's gonna be stuck in my head all night. It was great.
For $20, but if you listen to a little bit, it sounds like the Hardy theme, like the Hardy riff, you know, like the Hardy. Okay. But crazy.
Very cool.
Shout out to the Hardys, you know? Hey.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, the Hardys, man. I think the last time I actually saw the Hardys was actually in Rahway, New Jersey at Jersey All Pros. I believe the one of the anniversary shows. I cannot remember. Cool. Yeah. Standing there and just seeing them do their thing, you know, as a fan. But man, we have so much to talk about. We've been busy. Everybody's just been busy watching a lot of wrestling. Is hot, like we always, you know.
It really is. I picked a good time to get back into this business.
Yeah. Right.
There's so much going on, so much wrestling.
I mean, the last time you were just in Atlantic City a while back, you were in Atlantic City, and I so wanted to go to that. I was like, no.
Yeah, that was
the vibe
on that crowd. That was a crowd. It was really cool. And then I just got back a couple of days ago from Chicago.
I know.
Chicago. And I was able to do, it was really cool. I was able to do Fight and Focus, which is, that's what we call it. It's kind of a pre-show,
right?
To whatever these big events. So I was able to do one in Atlantic City for GCW Homecoming. And then I was able to do one this past weekend for the Art of War Games for GCW.
My God, what a show.
Both of which, I mean, so I like that I was able to kind of be there for the bookend. I kind of bookended Matt Cardona's title reign here.
Mr. Macho Man.
Oh man,
that was classic though. That was like
awesome.
That was a pop to him though. He really dug that out of the grave, like the other, like the big Vince McMahon one he did too. You know, the other
he was just trolling the GCW fans.
I know.
The entire time, and it was so fun to watch. It really
was. But now we look at him, and he's got to build himself back up and just as a character and see what he could do. Because now we got John Mox and Nick Gage, and it's gonna who knows who else will come in and take that title. You know.
I don't know, but it's interesting because deathmatch wrestling has really kind of come. I think it almost started with the Nick Gage Dark Side of the Ring. I think really was the first time people started looking at it as on a larger scale. Now
let me ask you this, Josh, what got you into deathmatch wrestling as a fan? What caught your eye? Like what caught your early stuff, like videos, footages?
So I was never a big deathmatch wrestling guy, because when I came up, and part of it was because I wrestled for 9 years and had no interest in doing a death match. So I tried to stay as far away from that as I possibly could. I'll take a chair shot. I'll go through a table. And that was I would do my extent was like a WWE hardcore match, right? Like that was that was the extent of what I was able to do.
Right.
But of course, I mean, growing up, I watched
a lot of the FMW, BJW.
I remember the Terry Funk and Cactus Jack match.
Absolutely.
But then I also, it wasn't deathmatch wrestling, but ECW. You know, I mean,
ECW was a grain to everybody growing up. I wish I was around for that era though. You know, like just since I lived at the Jersey Shore, ECW. You know, you're not too far from Philadelphia to the arena. You know what I mean? But like we'd actually have wrestlers. The wrestlers would do little small shows in like the areas though.
Yeah, I mean, it was ECW was an incredible time. Now I get to whenever I have a free moment, I get to host a podcast with the Blue Meanie, and we talk a lot about ECW. And I also hosted a show on ad-free shows called That Was Extreme with Blue Meanie and Joe Gertner. So we got to I've really had an opportunity to kind of go back and relive ECW, and it was. Man, what an incredible atmosphere that was. So he asked, how did I get into deathmatch wrestling? Again, I mean, to me, I've always been fascinated with the idea of the people who can just push their bodies to the limit, right? Because the thing with wrestling, you're always going to have your outside fans go, well, that's fake. But deathmatch wrestling, I mean, you can say that's predetermined, but you can't say anything's fake.
No.
And so there's while again, it hasn't always been my cup of tea, so to speak. I have nothing but respect for the people who, what they're putting their bodies through. I watch them and sometimes I just cringe. I go, God, please just.
Yeah. You look at the greats like Onita to, Jun Kasai and, Nick Mondo and just
but you look at it and you go, okay, I still want you to have some longevity and make a good living and then be able to retire. Like, I look at it from that point of view. But there's a lot of but man, you talk about a bloodthirsty crowd.
I know.
Homecoming, because it was an incredible crowd in Chicago.
Yeah, it was.
Crowd in Chicago.
Dude, that was like I was watching that fight. I'm like, holy shit!
It was maybe 1,500 people or so.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was. That's what it looked like. And now
I'll tell you. Yeah. Even as big a crowd as that was, and as intense a crowd as that was, and they were into it every single second of it.
They were.
They still did not compare, in my opinion, to the much smaller crowd in at the Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
At the Showboat.
Yeah.
That crowd was insane. They were. And I am surprised Matt Cardona made it out alive.
Yeah.
I'm glad he did, or I wouldn't have gotten that interview with him. So
yeah, I heard the stories. Fans were chasing him actually after.
I know there's some geniuses out there who claim that there were plants in the crowd. There weren't. There were no plants in that crowd there. They were not happy, but I think it's just been it's been amazing.
It's a roller coaster ride, man. They're going farther and farther now.
And look at Moxley coming out at the pay-per-view wearing the GCW hoodie.
I know, man. Like surprise coming out. And,
and I'll be honest, I don't know. Did they mention, because I was there, I was on the arena floor, I was doing the stuff with Fight. I saw him on the screen coming out with the GCW hoodie.
I just heard the chants. I heard the chants on the TV screen.
Heard the chants. Well, I didn't know if the announcer said anything or not.
I don't think
I haven't watched it.
Go back and watch. You'll have to see. Yeah.
But still, I mean, man, what an incredible
little advertisement there. I don't know, but so everybody should buy a hoodie from GCW.
You have to now.
Right.
It was worn by John Moxley.
Worn by the one and only. But no, John Moxley, man. There's a guy, his career, my gosh, like look at it, like where he was, in wrestling. If we're talking guys who have been there, done that, like Punk, like him and Punk and just Bryan Daniels, different companies to come now, it's just amazing, man, like where they're gonna go.
Yeah, it's exciting, and I know, like, you know, AEW's
Well,
ratings
actually, shout out to Lee Mayanari right now. God, that guy
just signed.
Like, my gosh, like we just seen him how many times wrestle?
He is a hell of a talent.
Yeah,
And a great get. And that's the thing, Tony Khan, man, he has his. He gets it. He knows what's going on. He's grabbing he's not grabbing people up to stockpile. He's grabbing people up that he sees has this potential. And I think he is. I've described him before, like, because I've had the pleasure of actually having conversations with him and hearing him talk in Chicago. I had the opportunity to talk to him, and it was the night before or 2 nights before the pay-per-view. And he was saying, he's like, guys, this is going to be the best. It's going to be the best one we've ever done. Best one. And I've compared him to, and I mean this in the absolute best way. I've compared him to like a kid who is obsessed with his wrestling figures and his figure fed, right?
Yeah.
Because where like he's just so excited to play with those figures, and he gets, and oh man, he hears that they're gonna release this new action figure of this new wrestler, and he's so excited, and he's begging his parents to take him to the store so he can get it, and he can't wait. He gets that figure, and he's so excited to figure out the best way to do it. That's like the vibe I get from him. Except he's a grown up. He's a billionaire.
He knows what wrestlers and females to pick.
Yeah, well, it's like
from the shelf.
He gets it.
You know,
exactly.
Yep.
He just gets it, and he gets to pretty much play with his wrestling figures, but they're the real people, and it's a real show, and he's. I love what he's doing.
I still have not been there live yet. I'm dying.
Oh man,
I know they're so booked. I'm like,
there's a lot of similarities, and some people might think this is ridiculous, but there's a lot of similarities in the crowd between the GCW crowd and an AEW crowd. And the biggest, it's the same similarity to an ECW crowd. It's the passion.
Yeah.
And even the WWF back in the day in the Attitude Era, they didn't have, they never had the passionate and some people are going to say, what the hell are you talking about? Of course they have passionate fans. But what I mean is, like, they didn't have that like groundswell of passionate fans. By the time during the Attitude Era, whether it was the Nitro parties or whatever it was a ton of like, you'd have a ton of drunk college kids.
Yeah.
Were just super happy to be there. They loved it. They were laughing. Oh man. Oh, DX is crotch chopping. Stone Cold's giving the finger. This is so cool. But they never had what ECW had or what GCW had or has or what AEW has, which is this like absolute passionate fan base that they live and breathe off of whatever it is that's presented to them. And I think that's
like me, because I've been there since day one. I was I'm a diehard. Well, I'm a fan of Fred. You know, I've worked for them too.
No,
I've helped out a lot. You know,
how tell me. I mean, I know this is you're interviewing me, but I'm so used to interviewing other people. But I'm curious, how did you get into deathmatch wrestling?
Man, deathmatch wrestling. I was just watching. Just like you said, you know, we watched tape trading. You know, tape trading was a popular thing, videos, and just ECW caught my eye on an early age. You know, I actually was 18 years old, and I worked in a dollar store. This guy walks in, it was Balls Mahoney. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know who he was at the time. So I'm like, he's like, hey, I work for a company called ECW. So then I started watching the hardcore. I got to watch this stuff to see what it's all about. And I just fell in love with it. And just, my gosh, it was just, just from that day, I FMW to BJW and just watching all of the YouTube channels and this and that and just really just soaking in. And I'm like, this is an art. This is what we live for. I love, like, just it's a storyline that we love, and just the way that it's played out, and the creativity of the builders in the back. Give big shout out to them, because they do the work, really put the work into, the structures are really insanely coming up. Like, my God, where did you ever see a glass ceiling match? Huh? Never. Like, only on the old BJW DVDs and videos and promotions. But just the thrill, the hype. It's something that it's in my blood. I love it. It's because, like, Cactus Jack, like you said, Terry Funk. And I've met Mick Foley in the past, and just like you could talk about stories and stories, just actually, I'll tell you a story about Mick Foley. I went to Pennsylvania one year, had the Wrestle Reunion 2. Okay. And Bill Apter was up there doing the Q&A session. So
Bill Apter, Bill Apter is one of my oldest friends. He's the reason I'm even in the business.
Yeah. But anyway, so they say, the sign says Q&A with Bill Apter and Mick Foley. Okay. So I'm like, let me whip something up. Let me try this. Let me see what it's about. So I got up to the mic. Mick Foley, thinking in my head what to say. Mick Foley, what was it like falling off a Hell in a Cell versus The Undertaker? Scared shitless. He was scared. I was like, yeah. Just
That's
that. But, yeah. But, and then, old school wrestling is just, growing up watching wrestling, man. Just a fan of everything, Yeah,
it's, I'm definitely newer to, or I guess a return to deathmatch wrestling.
And I like to show off, even a collector, hell, I've been to WrestleMania 5 in Atlantic City. Shit. Come on. Is that historical? Yeah. My story with that one is my dad and I, Christmas time, got tickets for WrestleMania 5, sat up in the nosebleeds, 5 rows away, saying hello to Jesse the Body and Gorilla.
Wow.
Gorilla on commentary. Hear the thump of the ring, just the atmosphere, just the amazing of the.
It's all about the atmosphere. That's and again, that goes back to GCW, and that's what, when you ask what got me into death matches, I'm still not entirely sure I'm into death matches as much as I'm into.
But I traveled, and then I traveled to a lot of these like smaller promotion, the GCW, and then VOW, Vicious Outcast Wrestling is a local, they would bring G Raver and all these, everybody, just the crowd. And CZW, I used to go to the Combat Zone all the time down in Voorhees. And just
back when CZW was good.
Yeah.
Did I say that? Yeah.
I mean, and actually Chicago, speaking of that, I did do the first when GCW did their first pay-per-view with Freelance Underground. I was there for that one when they did their first one in 2018. Cool. Yeah, 2018. And then they did the deathmatch show at that gala place. Really cool. Yeah. So I was the helper running around the weapons, just helping out, doing. Marcus wanted a door. I got him a door,
There you go.
I got a shopping cart for Schlack. Hey, whatever you needed. He's going to do it. Well, because back then, we didn't really have we needed people on the road to help,
Right.
But now it's full force. There's a good team out there. Good.
It really is. There is a really good crew there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that's how my deathmatch got into play, and I just love it. Just love watching and supporting GCW from day one. I was there for the first to, but I haven't traveled all over. Like here and there, I'll do the shows. You know what I mean?
I think I kind of feel like deathmatch fans or deathmatch.
But I do love the wrestling. I do like the the full contact sport of I mean,
absolutely. Because I think the deathmatch fans and deathmatch wrestlers are you ever see the show Dexter?
Yes.
So I feel like they're all kind of like in a way Dexter. Like this is that outlet. There's that like part of them that just loves the violence and the blood. But here's what they do so that they don't feel like they actually need to go out and get into a fight.
No, they could put a tag team match, a scramble on. They could put a high, just throw up whatever they can to, like that scramble match. Come on, Chicago, that was insanely awesome. Shout out to Ninja Mac and all them. Just those
Ninja
guys.
Mac, the power bomb, the sunset flip power bomb.
Yeah.
That was insane, man.
That's Shane Mercer Vols, dude's dominant. They were creative with that crate challenge. That was classic.
That was funny. I know Blue Meanie had pitched a crate challenge spot when he was in Alaska the other week doing a show, and they couldn't find any crates.
Oh, jeez.
So Yeah, but he wanted to do a spot there, but I don't know if it would have looked exactly the same.
Yeah.
I think it would have just been falling over right away. But
Probably would.
yeah, but no, man, deathmatch. I mean, GCW,
Mhm.
it really has become more mainstream now. Between Mox wearing the thing, people chanting GCW on these big shows,
Mhm.
selling out. The venue there. They had multiple sections in that venue, and they moved last minute because they needed more space. And Brett told me a week before that he was Brett Lauderdale, who's the
I know.
you know him, but for listeners, the owner of GCW, he was concerned because they had done a show where they had to offer refunds because they were not allowed to fit as many people who had bought tickets.
Yeah,
and I mean, it really just shows how much they're growing. And to have, and again, it speaks back to Tony Khan again, to be able to allow Moxley to do something like that. And
allow, just anybody,
Yeah. And I give a lot of credit to Matt Cardona too. I mean, to be involved, like I mentioned earlier, like I never wanted to be involved in the deathmatch stuff because I'm not ashamed to say I have no interest in going through glass or doing anything like that. I don't think Cardona had any interest either, but the man just, he gets it. He had a vision. And
now he's helping out build it. Now he's helping to build a character, a toy. That's like, wow. I mean, I already have I have the little Nick Gage, the other one they just designed. That's pretty sharp.
He calls the bootleg one.
Yeah, and you have your own, which is very cool.
I do. I have them everywhere.
I'll DM you one day, and I'll be checking. Oh, if you bring
I always have it here to show up. This is my newest one.
Yeah.
So we have the Mind of the Meanie 2-pack as well, which I should say is available. Let me grab it. Where am I?
Don't even worry.
It's here we go. So these ones I actually have loose. So this was originally, we have the Mind of the Meanie 2-pack.
Yeah.
And it's the blue meanie.
Yeah.
Like modern day blue meanie.
Yeah.
And then it's me. I've got my Mind of the Meanie microphone and one of my custom
What made you want to do that? Like just for fun, right?
Dude, when a toy company comes to you and says we want to make an action figure of you, you say yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much, I think the idea was this was a promotional kind of. Cello was brand new. Cello Toys is who makes it. They were a brand new company. They had only released pre-order of Nick Aldis. They hadn't even released him yet. And we got to talking with them about the idea of doing something combined with the podcast.
Yeah.
And that was the idea of doing this 2-pack. And they did an amazing job. But then, they already had the molds out, everything, and it became much cheaper you can see the differences here, but they've just, this is brand new released, this Fight TV exclusive.
Yeah.
So it's a repaint of me. And if you see, I've got I don't know if you can see my fight tie.
Yeah.
And then I've got the fight microphone and everything.
That's so sharp, though. It looks really
they did an amazing job.
What did your kids think of it? What did your kids think?
My kids haven't even, I don't know that they've even seen this one yet because I just got them. But this, my daughter brings this to school with her, and my son plays with it. I don't think he's playing.
Tell you what, hold one for October for me, would you?
Absolutely, man.
Yeah,
absolutely. I will say these all sold out in the UK, which is pretty amazing.
That's good.
But the big thing about it is not just a figure of me. If you're asking, well, why would anyone want a figure of me? Well, on the back here, you can see.
Tells you info. Yeah, the whole.
It's not this one's not my info. This is all the rules. So if you get this and you go and you bring me with you to a live event airing on Fight, or have me with you while watching the purchased event on fight.tv, you take a picture of this figure of me, and you use the hashtag of the event, and you have to tag and follow at So Says Shernoff and at Fight TV. And then it says here, step 3, make sure those DMs are open so we can gather your information and give you those fight points towards a future event on Fight. So that's the thing. It's kind of like a Flat Stanley type deal, if you know that is.
Yeah, what I always see on social media, on our Twitter is use the code, and I need to figure that out. So I can help promote and
that's kind of the cool, that what was really cool with Cello with this was Cello Toys was very interested in doing another a repaint of me, and I was the one who had the idea and presented it to Fight of like, hey, can we do something? Because in full disclosure, I was worried no one would buy my figure. So I'm like, well, we got to give them a reason to buy it. No one wants just a figure of me. So
no, it's like cash.
Yeah, so now that's the thing. You buy this figure, you can keep taking those pictures of. If you're somebody who gets Ring of Honor on pay-per-view, or you get Ring of Honor on Fight, you get Impact Wrestling on Fight, you're going to get GCW on Fight.
Yeah.
Any of the paid shows that you get, if all you have to do, even if you're not at the event, you take a picture, you're watching on your TV, you take a picture of my figure there in front of it, and you do the proper hashtag and tagging.
Yeah.
And we give you fight points. We give you a fight point, and however many fight points it is to be able to get a pay-per-view for free. So I mean, that's it's a pretty cool deal.
And also, Fight TV is one of the top rated. I'll tell you what, man, you go by rate, like, they're good quality, like really, like the way that they deliver their products. Sometimes, you have a flaw. The signal loses. What are you gonna do?
It's going to happen. And you know what the funny thing is?
Yeah.
Signal gets lost, and what's the first thing they do? Oh, Fight TV. How'd you do that?
Go on the chat room and type. Yeah.
I have worked enough. I've been in the truck enough and worked with them behind the scenes enough to know that 9 times out of 10, that feed goes out. That has nothing to do with Fight.
No.
It might be the feed that's being sent to Fight. Whoever's sending it could be the problem.
It could be out here.
It could be a power outage in one location that cuts the feed. But everyone, Fight can't do this. Fight can't do that. But you know what? Thankfully, that's very, very rare that you see that, because Fight actually has an incredible team that keeps it moving, keeps it going. And when there is a glitch, they
that's
fix
why we
that.
love it, right? That's why.
I love Fight. The best thing that ever happened in my career was hooking up with Fight, doing my show on Fight, and then getting to now I work as a producer for Fight TV, and I host a bunch of their shows, and I love it. It's an incredible opportunity. I had the opportunity to work GCW and AEW in the same weekend.
You couldn't complain. I was going to say you couldn't complain there, man.
No, and the week before I was working the NWA.
Let's talk about NWA there. That really that caught my eye when I saw this is a company that's doing pretty good. They're really honing in on their vision. And I respect that a lot. They're not worried about if somebody's like, oh, well, you should do this, you should do that. They have an idea. Billy Corgan has an idea in his mind of what it is he wants to do. And to talk to him about that, I was able to interview him on one of the Fighting Focuses, the one right before Empower, which you can get free. Not the Empower, you have to pay for NWA Empower, but you can get the Fight and Focus free over at fight.tv right now. But interviewing Billy Corgan, aside from the fact that, come on, I mean, it's Billy Corgan. I'm like, what are we doing here? Figure, man, like a band that you grew up with.
I will tell you, that was when I have friends who, I have a buddy of mine we had a band in high school. We were, he is an encyclopedia of music. Could not care less about wrestling. The only reason he knows anything about wrestling is because he had to be friends with me for so long. But he sees me interviewing all these people, and it's very much like, hey man, I'm proud of you, happy for you type deal. But realistically, couldn't care less. I did this thing with Matt Cardona. I don't know what Matt Cardona is, right? I'll
never forget also GCW, hosted, we had festivals, rock fests, and I'm surprised the musicians didn't come on over and check out what we were doing.
Well, that's the thing. But so here's the thing though. So my buddy though doesn't care about any of that stuff. When I sent him a picture of me and Billy Corgan working together, I sent him a screenshot. That he was like, "Oh my God, this is crazy!" How is it? All of a sudden, because it's somebody from a different era, from a different world. But but
I told NWA, I'll tell you what, man. I like telling my concert stories, though. I'll tell you this one. I'll do it. All right. Well, Game Changer. Brett, there was a show at my local. They did a show with wrestling with Nate Hatred and a couple other guys, and Brett's. I'm doing like a Facebook Live. First time trying that Facebook Live, holding a camera. Brett told me, go ahead and try to film this crowd, and And then after my dad and it was rainy. Hey, I got $40. I got $40 tickets. You want to go see some bands play? Okay. So we saw Alice Cooper play. God, like we just walked right up to the stage and watched the whole. My dad had no clue who was Alice. He'd never seen like the big like the.
Well, that's the funny thing about celebrity, right? Like if you know who, if there's I always thought about the daytime soap opera stars, right?
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the world, for the most part, has no idea who these people are. They can walk past you. You can be sharing a cab with one of them and you have no idea.
I'll tell you what.
If you watch daytime soaps, they are the biggest stars in the world to you, right?
You know what? I had an experience one New Year's. My sister lives up in Pennsylvania, hosted a New Year's party. I walk into the kitchen. This guy's in the kitchen with his son. And I asked my sister, somebody was saying, hey, I could go for some Bing cherries right now. I still wanted some Bing cherry, some cherries from a jar. And guess what? It was CC DeVille of Poison.
Wow.
And he's like, hey man, I wrote that song by Cherry Pie Warren. I'm like, no shit.
Wow.
And that's
See that, but that's it. But here's the thing: if you have somebody from a generation before or a generation after who've never heard the song, don't know Poison,
that's like we just.
They're gonna meet the guy and be like, oh,
Brandon.
I guess that's kind of cool.
That's like Brandon, like he's really cool, just a real nice person, all general, cool,
Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting thing how that comes out. How fans of one person, this person can be an absolute hero to someone, another person doesn't know who they are.
But to see like we just play live at that New York show, my God, that was just a blown away show. Lost in New York,
Yeah.
That was a fun night to be a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
Just to see the
fun time to be a wrestling
fan. That was a Marco stunt moment. That was that was the breakout moment for Marco. And
Marco, who shout out to Marco stunt. Yeah. He's an incredible guy.
He's an awesome person.
Such a decent person. And so freaking funny.
He really is.
And I've been very lucky to get to work with him.
Yeah.
Also because he's one of the only people in wrestling that makes me feel tall. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But no, man, it's it's been a really cool thing. Fight sending me to all the stuff with GCW, and they had pitched GCW to me in the past, and it never really worked out scheduling wise for me to cover stuff.
Yeah.
And Matt Cardona and I go way back, and I'm a big supporter of his work that he does, and to have the opportunity to go there for that and finally have it work out and have it be the night that Matt Cardona is going to be there, and then for Matt to give me, and not just Matt but Brett as well, to give me that post-match interview, to allow me to have that, and then allow me to do it again with him, where it's kind of juxtaposition, where now he's not the tough guy, he's the loser. But I also got a nice picture. This is the best thing to come of all of it.
Yeah.
Circles back to this figure, which is available at sosaysshernoff.com. What's it's my cheap plug.
Yeah.
Best thing is I get a text from Matt Cardona last week, and he says, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I need that figure. Because Matt is obviously everyone knows
he's a collector, man.
But he only collects
certain
figures, and he won't but because that depicts me with the fight microphone, it's basically me from when I interviewed him. He's like, I need it. But he also has the Mind of the Meanie 2-pack. He told me, he's like, although he told me the other day, he's like, I think the Mind of the Meanie Josh is gonna go meet Duke the Dumpster Jersey in the thrown in the trash can. He's like, I can only have one of you. I can only have one
character. Yeah.
So I'm like, all right. Don't throw it out. Send it to me.
It's like you know what? The funny thing is, I used to collect. I still have like tons of the loose figures and this and that. But man, you look at these figures coming out now, AEW figures. I don't even have those. I don't have a single one of them. I don't. So I made a mistake in me. So I have a shelf in my office. Yes.
That I have as many action figures as I can get of people I've worked with. So people have always, when they come into my office, like they'll always see it and they'll be like, oh, wow, you collect a lot of figures. And I go, oh, it's an action figure of each guy I've worked with. And it becomes a great conversation because everyone's just like, oh my God, like it's it's a great way to just say
it's like my wall of Onita and Jun Kasai in a showcase box.
Yeah, man. I mean that's what I'm saying is it's a great opportunity to show people like what it is that I've done, right? Like what and say, oh, I've interviewed all these wrestlers, whatever. You see all these action figures, you're able to see it. It's tangible. So I'm like, well, this is great. I'll do that. The problem is then AEW started releasing action figures.
I know.
And I have worked with almost everybody at AEW, and I am just straight up. I'm like, dude, I can't afford this. All the money I make doing the AEW shows, I'm now spending to buy their action figures to fill my shelf. I'm like, you know what? I think we're gonna stop with Series 1, but
it's like a t-shirt club, like how many t-shirts we have in our collection.
I know, right? And that's another thing, man. T-shirts, like right now I'm wearing my nice. I see you've got them as a sponsor as well. Collar and Elbow brand. I trained under Al Snow, so I love Al and I love Collar and Elbow brand. But man, I'm very fortunate to be given a lot of free t-shirts. That's a big thing. I just got more this weekend. I've got a couple free AEW t-shirts. I've got my, all, of course, any of the shirts that I do for the podcast or that I do for So Says Shernoff, which is also, by the way, a podcast and a show on Fight. So definitely check that out. But all these different things I get to do, I get these like free shirts. Well, I have too many, so I'm gonna start selling them.
I'm gonna hook up with the free shirt because I have one. So how's that?
Oh, awesome, man! Sounds good. Yeah, no, I
got a couple cozies too. I'll throw those in.
Sweet, very cool, very cool.
Yeah,
you got a cool logo too. What's the Deathmatch Russell podcast? Where did that come from? Where'd that name come from?
Well, my last name's Russell, so I was like,
so just Deathmatch Russell, like that. Like you are Deathmatch Russell.
I am Deathmatch Russell. Like I created a name that was nobody, nobody ever.
That's the way to do it, man.
I mean, and a perfect way to do it, buy a tombstone. Come on,
it's awesome.
Buddy. Yeah,
no, it's very cool. It's very cool.
I
like what you're doing here.
I know, like the big logos. This is great. Like this is great advertising. It really is.
It is. The more, I mean, and that's the best part with the t-shirts and stuff.
I'll tell you what, this right here. I bought this on Amazon for like $50. You need yourself one. Wow. One of photo fabric.
Very cool. Well, I normally my office right now, I'm in my kids' playroom with all of my furniture moved out. Yeah, because we have the ceiling is open. We have construction going on in my office. But my office, I've got my nice signage and everything. Don't worry, I am always putting myself over whenever I get a chance.
Yeah, I show my friends like you don't need a huge fucking budget to hang on the ceiling. That's it. Just duct tape it to the ceiling.
Yeah, man.
It sounds clear and it's crystal.
Yep.
Just the years of podcast. It's fun, man. I'm what 4 years in, over 5 now. Going on probably be 5. It's just fun.
Awesome.
It gets back to what the wrestlers and people want to hear. Thank you for doing what they do, and stories are the best. From hearing from any kind of wrestler. I've actually had I've had the PCO on. I've had Dr. D. David Schultz. I've had some good ones in the past.
The best thing you can do, I feel like, as a wrestling fan, and I had this opportunity. I was very fortunate to work for ad-free shows for the Top Guy weekend.
Yeah.
And to just hang out in that green room and talk to just guys like, I talked to David Crockett for hours. Yeah. I could talk to him forever. Talking to him, talking to Eric Bischoff, talking to Tony Schiavone. Hearing as Arn Anderson is kind of telling story, Ric Flair kind of has the whole room and they're all talking. It's just
fun. Yeah.
It's a behind the scenes that you sit there sometimes, I know in my position, I sit there and it is not lost on me that I get to do this for a job because, and don't tell Mike Weber at Fight, but I would do, these are the things that when I was growing up, I would have paid more money than I make to get the access that I get paid to have now. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
To be backstage at AEW, I've been back. I got to host a pre-show for the first ever Dynamite. To do things like that, I would have. I would have as
and
a
the quality and the picture in this. It's just perfect.
It's just awesome. I would have paid so much money to be able to have that opportunity to meet these people, and now I get to work with them, and it's like you talking about, getting to interview, David Schultz, and it's one of those things where
I saw him wrestle as a kid.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? Like, I actually got to see him wrestle in Bruiser Brody inside a steel cage.
That's amazing. That's
historical stuff. That's like, you don't get to see that.
No, and that's why I feel very fortunate to have been able to be at such monumental moments in companies like a GCW, companies like AEW. I've been able to be there for all the really big moments. And the one regret that I have, it's not a regret. I mean, it's not a regret for me because there's nothing we could have done, but I never had the opportunity to meet or work with Brody Lee, who I was a huge fan of.
Man, I got to see him so many times at the Jersey All Pro. Oh my God.
But I never had the opportunity, but I've always been a big fan of his work. And when he came to AEW
and work with Eddie, my gosh, it was chemistry. When
I saw him come to AEW, he was one of the ones I got really excited about. Like, oh man, when this pandemic's over and I go back to AEW and I get to go back and work there. Cause I worked every AEW pay-per-view until the pandemic. I was at every single pay-per-view working for Fight. And this was my first one back in Chicago. And, that was one. And listen, in the scheme of everything, my being sad I didn't get to work with him doesn't, is meaningless. It's, it's not important in the scheme of things. But but that was one that I really was, it
that would have been an awesome interview. You would have had a really blast, good conversation.
I would have loved to have been able to both interview him and work with him and get an opportunity to actually meet him, because I've heard nothing but incredible things about him as a human being. And that would have been, and that's a locker room filled with some pretty great human beings. If I may say, there are some people in AEW who are just really, really decent, good people. And then there's MJF, but there's some really good. There's just some really good.
I actually have I had my time with him. I'll tell you what, it's Combat Zone, and I got shut down by Twitter by him. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Toilet paper was the big deal, and I go on Twitter and I got blocked by a comment, and Brett backed me up on it. It was pretty funny. I said I took a shit in your parents' house. It was great, classic moments. But no, he's a character. But then I have a video somewhere out me chopping him with Ricky Shane Page. My God.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll send you that. I'll send you that video. It's
do that. That's awesome.
At the Combat Zone, just stupid stuff like that. I mean? Yeah. But Ricky's a good wrestler.
That's it, man. That's what wrestling's all about, right? These memories as a fan, as a part of it, it's just it's such an incredible business.
It's like Ricky Shane Page, man. I got to see him wrestle at the IWA Mid-South. I went down for his first tournament. I saw him wrestle with John Wayne Murdoch when John was the king, became Duke. The Duke becomes hardcore. Like in a tournament with the Bulldozer, Matt Tremont, and DJ Hyde at the time, and Devin Moore, and my God, Doc. So all the names,
Devin Moore. I worked with Devin.
Devin's a great person.
Back in 2002 was the first time I worked with Devin.
Yeah.
And he he had a lot of talent back then too.
Yeah.
He was a character.
He's a great person, good person. People don't. But man, we had a lot of good talk here, haven't we?
Holy shit. Man, it's great to talk to you.
What else do we want to talk? What else we got? We got what we got coming up. Let's just plug what we got coming up. Shit.
Yeah.
Let's just talk. We'll do this again. I love to do it.
Absolutely. I'll come back after. I'm sure I'll be at a GCW show again soon.
In October.
I know I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. Yeah. I'm almost positive I'm going to be there at the Showboat when they return to that. And there's talk about there's one in New York. There's been talk of, at least. I don't know where or when. I pretty much I get a phone call that tells me here's where you're going, and I
pack your bag, you're going.
That's the thing. It's a job. It just so happens that I get to love what I'm doing. So
absolutely.
I am it sounds like I'm bragging, but I am genuinely.
You meet the fans also, which is important.
It is. That was if I can put over Top Guy Weekend. for a minute. That was, you have fans going, oh, thank you for that. And I'm like, dude, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds so cliche, and it sounds so bizarre to me to even refer to having fans. Because that blows my mind that anybody cares about anything that I'm doing. Because, and that's why, you know, I try to tell them, like, listen, man, like, I had a couple podcasts that no one ever heard about. I wrestled for 9 years. I worked, you know, behind the scenes and all this stuff. I've been involved in the wrestling business.
I tell people, you know what, and you know, us podcasters, it's not about the numbers, and it's not, you know, the ratings and this and that. It's just the fun. We love what we do.
Yeah, but you know, people are just like, oh my God, you know, you've been doing this, all this stuff. It's really like picking up. And I'm like, I've been involved in the wrestling business for 22 years. And I'm like, so you know, it took me 22 years to become an overnight success, you know?
And, just to try to buy a microphone and hey, okay.
But you know, but the thing is, I appreciate the fans so much, the people who have supported me. The amount of figures, we sold out in the UK for Mind of the Meanie. We sold out in the UK for my individual fight figure. That's insane to me. That is crazy. And the fact that we only have less than 100 figures left for the Mind of the Meanie. And I mean, thankfully we have more for the one of me that just came in for the US because we literally just got them in. But we already, I mean, we pre-sold 2/3 of the amount of figures we're going to have. So it blows my mind, but that's the thing, you know, anybody who ever is just like, oh, the fans, you know, a bunch of marks or things. First of all, nothing wrong with being a mark. And secondly,
hell, we were there. Shit.
Man. And I'm still there. I'll still mark out over these. You think I didn't mark out when they walk in? They go, hey, Josh, can you come back? I was at GCW. They're like, Josh, can you come back? We need you to interview Paul White. Like, yep, let me call an Uber. I went, I interviewed. If you see online any of it, my interview with Paul White, we had such a small window to interview that I am actually still wearing my GCW tie.
No,
because I came back, did the interview with him. He had to go out and do his thing. I was able to then change my tie to an ad-free shows tie to interview Sting. And then I got back in an Uber and right back to GCW. So it was a whirlwind. But
let me tell you this, you know, in Big Show and, you know, Sting, of course, my God, that's like a iconic person to be interviewing, my guy, because he's been in the business.
Dude, I dressed as him for Halloween when I was younger. I dressed as Sting for Halloween, and that's I'm standing there holding a microphone to Sting, asking him questions on, you know, that thousands of people are watching. And you talk about, you know, how when I say like I'm still a mark at times. It is impossible not to stand there and have it going through my head. Dude, I dressed as you for Halloween. I remember trying to get that. I remember looking at a picture in the magazine and going, how do I get this makeup right? It's, you know, I'm not going to go up to him and go, oh, Sting, you remember that one match you had with Hollywood Hogan? Like, no, I'm not going to
say that stuff. You just,
but I want to remain a mark in that regard, because if I didn't, then it becomes a job. Then you're like, oh, you know, how much am I getting paid to do whatever?
Yeah, like Big Show. My gosh, that guy's like
dude, I want to enjoy. I want to love what I do. And I never want to lose perspective.
The guy's like a giant, you know. Like you're probably like, holy.
Oh God, he's enormous. Yeah. I mean, not that people didn't realize.
I've seen it, man. I've seen him at the house shows, and you know.
But I want to, my final thought on it would be that I don't ever want to lose the perspective. People can say it's being a mark or whatever. I don't ever, you know, I get to interview all of these. It's amazing now, you know, this month I'll be 38, that I look at some of these guys and they're just kids. They're 22 years old. They're, you know, they're in there, and I look at them and I go, man, like, and I feel like I'm happy to be along for the ride and play a tiny part in their career. Along the way,
because we see them grow as a talent,
and that's really cool.
It's
but like the talent that was there before.
No,
like I don't I don't ever want to lose.
It's like Nick Wayne. My gosh, there's a kid that's going to be something big. You know?
But for me, it's just with like the established talent, the legends, the Hall of Famers. I don't ever want to, whether it makes me a mark or not, I don't ever want to lose the respect. That thought, you know, that perspective that of that 14-year-old kid and what he would have, that, you know, I would have sold my bed to get, you know, to make enough money to be able to just do a meet and greet with these people. And here I am getting to just hang out in the green room with them. It's an incredible life that I am fortunate enough to get to live. And I'm fortunate to a lot of people for that. You know, I was very fortunate to have I've had a very supportive family. I
was going to say, how old are your kids? You tell me how old your kids are.
My kids are 6, 4, and 1.
I got, my gosh, my nieces and nephews are, let's see, 5, 6, 4, and 10. How's that?
They're fun ages. I mean, I've got nieces and nephews and stuff too who are awesome, and just, you know, I've got.
But you know what the funny thing is? They don't know anything about my wrestling. They don't know anything about deathmatch wrestling. I'm never going to tell them.
God, no.
I'm never going to tell them.
No, listen, GCW is the one, my kids love to watch when I'm working.
Try to grab my toys. That's about it. You know, regular figures. I'll show them.
My kids aren't watching my GCW stuff. They're not seeing that.
That's good. But, you know, we have to hide it. So,
you
know, this is the violence of the, we don't tell them and then I'll have nightmares the next day and come out with a pizza cutter.
Yeah, man. Never look at Domino's Pizza the same.
Oh God.
You know.
But all right, man, let's call it a night. I gotta get up and hit I'm a garbage man. I'm a metal man by day at the garbage. So
nice, man.
You know, but feel free to plug whatever fight. What do you got? A lot of stuff coming up. Ring of Honors, everything's going crazy.
Yeah, we just did a Fight and Focus that is airing possibly now while we're talking. I don't know when they're airing. I know I filmed it.
We should say shout out to Tony Deppen because you're gonna kick that Ron Funches guy's ass. And
I love Ron Funches. I love Ron.
Did you see that? Did you see the video? Did you see?
I did.
Oh my God, that was funny.
I love Ron Funches, and Ron, I feel like he's got one good punch in him, and that's it.
Yeah. I think he said a low blow. I think he said on the interview with that guy, I'm gonna low blow. You know, give him a low blow.
Yeah. No, I
don't do wrestling.
It's gonna be awesome. But no, we've got Fights. Go to fight.tv and just check out. If you love wrestling, be it deathmatch wrestling, be it catch as catch can wrestling, whatever it is, Fight's got it. Go check that out. We also have, of course, some major boxing matches coming up. And then, of course, we've got MMA. We have there's motocross on there. There's so much stuff to watch on Fight, but it's pro wrestling. To me, I have the opportunity to produce some of these other bare knuckle fighting and stuff like that. But to me, my love is pro wrestling, and that's kind of where my focus is with Fight. And I am just so lucky to be working with them, and I love it. And I hope that everybody will go check out Fight TV.
Go support it. Yeah, check it out.
And check it out. Also, check me out at So Says Shernoff on social media. I see you have here on the screen at Shernoff Show. That's also so. We had that kind of was for the So Says Shernoff show. Yeah. Which is funny. I had the screen name So Says Shernoff. The show was named after my screen name or my screen name. God, what is this? AOL. Yes. Named after my Twitter handle. Yeah. And so then I needed a Twitter handle and couldn't use it because whatever. But and then of course Mind of the Meanie, the blue meanie, and I haven't been able to be there for scheduling issues the last month, with the exception of one episode. So, but check it out. Great guy, Adam Bernard, has been filling in for me. So definitely check that out. And that's it, man. I don't know what. Oh, so says Shernoff.com, man. Buy the figures. Mindofthemeanie.com. Get yourself a blue meanie.
See him. Come see him at a show. Come see it. Yeah, just see what you show and just say hello.
If you ever see me, come up and say hello.
Don't be shy. People are like, "Oh, don't meet him." Yeah, because he might even interview you. So there you go.
You never know. I know. Thank you so much for having me on here. I really appreciate it, man.
Absolutely, Josh. You have a good night, my friend, and I will talk to you soon. I'll see you in October.
All right. Take care. I'll see you then.
All right. Be good. Well, fans, that's it. You can close it. I guess I could close this. I don't know. I hate the back screen things.
We're all just still hanging out on here. Yeah, we said our goodbyes, and we're all still hanging out.
Well, David. Well, Deathmatch Russell. What do you got planned for this week? What do I have on podcast wise? Well, I'm going to be talking to an independent pro wrestler tomorrow night at 8 p.m. with Landon Hall, an independent wrestler, and I'm looking forward just to talking to him and see what he's all about. And we're going to talk wrestling and his career and much, much more. But fans, I want to say thank you to my guest tonight, Josh, for coming on. And he really is one of those people that really supports the business like I did. Like, he's a fan and just loves to talk and host interviews. And it's with all these legends and stars and Fight TV. And you see him doing Fight behind the scenes. And my gosh, he does a lot. So go out and support him. Say hello at a show. Buy his figure and say hello. And support Game Changer Wrestling. Support NWA, AEW. The list goes on and on. And have a good night, everybody. Till tomorrow night, 8 p.m. with my guest, Landon Hale. Good night, everybody. Thank you for listening to the Deathmatch Russell podcast, as always. You can find more Deathmatch Russell podcasts on the following social media: DeathmatchRussell.com. Follow on Twitter at DavidNJ32 and on Facebook, Facebook.com/DJDaveNJ32. Find me on Podcast City Network at PodcastCity.net. Facebook.com/Podcast City Network. Hit the like button and share. And on Twitter at PodcastCityNet. You can hear Deathmatch Russell podcast on Stitcher Radio and on iTunes. Hey, wrestling fans, check out BootandHeel.com for all your independent wrestlers, apparel, and more. Also, check out Deathmatch Russell podcast as well. www.bootandheel.com.